We are ready for our language arts great tapestry. Caden, you'll need out your worksheet packet. We're on page 8, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then you'll need your book. Who's my paper passer? Would you give everybody a book for me, please? Okay. On page 8 of your packet, it says vocabulary, context clues. What does that mean, context clues? Reese?
Word from the book that gives us clues what it means.
Yeah, context clues are, when we're reading something, is words from the book that help us know what's going on. But context clues don't have to just be, you okay? Okay. Context clues don't have to just be words from the book. If I stand here, Caden can see me. If I stand here, I need you all to get your work out. I'm giving you some context clues. What are the context clues saying?
Get your work.
I need you all to get your work out. What clues am I giving you?
That you're mad.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because you're saying it kind of mad.
Yeah, got my hands on my I'm kind of scowling as I'm saying it. I'm kind of forceful. Those also are context clues. The words around something or what else is happening can give you a clue to how somebody's feeling or what's being said. So, in our reading, we're going to look at context clues being the words around it to find the meaning of the word murmured. Have you ever heard the word murmured?
No.
It's one of my favorite words. Doesn't it just sound wonderful? Murmur. Murmur, murmur, murmur. Murmur, 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 murmur.
Is it not a word?
It is kind of an onomatopoeia word. Good job, Hattie. I had never really thought of it that way, but it definitely is kind of an onomatopoeia word. All right, so we're looking for murmured. And we are on page, what was the last animal that we visited?
Sloth.
The sloth. So we're on page 22. There's a child. There's a little child.
Wait, is this the Jungle Book?
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not positive how to pronounce his tribe name, so I'm going to do the best I can, and then maybe we'll look it up later. A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, "Senor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes." Okay? So he murmured in his ear. What page do we find murmured?
Page 22.
Page 22.
Page 22.
Good. Okay? And then we need this sentence from the book. We're taking direct quote, so we have to start with quotation marks.
Right.
Look in your book and see.
And put the ellipses.
I don't know. Look at your sentence and see. What words from the sentence do we want?
He murmured in his ear.
I like it. Do we need ellipses to begin with?
No.
Nope, because we start with the first word in the sentence.
So that means we have to capitalize it.
Exactly.
It kind of sounds like murder. Maybe it is murder.
No, it is not murdered.
Murmured.
I'm just gonna flip it to the next page. Murmured
Is
in
here.
his
Make sure you have a little bit more space between your words. His ear.
And then what punctuation mark is after the word ear? What's that one called? Do you know, Ace?
I don't know what it's called, but it kind of looks like one of those time.
Yeah, it's the same thing that we use in time to separate the hour and the minutes when we're telling time digitally. It's called, pardon?
Looks like a smiley face.
It's called a colon.
Oh.
And we use a colon in writing, in paragraph writing, to give kind of a pause. It's a little bit more of a pause than a comma. And usually it will maybe just give you a little bit more information, which this one does. He murmured in his ear. And then we have just a little bit of a longer pause because it's super important. Senor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes. Okay, so we have to have that colon in our quote. And then does the sentence go on to say more?
No. Wait.
Yeah, it does. So we need our ellipses
At the end.
and then our close quote. All right. Let's talk excuse me. Let's talk about the definition of murmured before we talk about the part of speech. Okay? What does murmured mean? Hattie, what do you think?
Whispered in his ear.
Whispered is an excellent synonym. So we can put our bullet point and whispered. How do we start? Whispered. Hattie?
W-H.
Yep. Is-pered is an excellent synonym. Word that means the same as. Whispered. Now, what part of speech is it? Is it a noun? Something you can hold in your hand?
No.
Is it a verb? Something you can do?
Yeah.
Is it an adjective? A describing word?
Yes.
Can you whisper? Yes. So it's something you can do, so it's a verb.
Say a verb.
Okay?
Wait, sure, put a W.
Okay. Now, murmured is not usually a word, well, it is kind of a word that one person can do. Usually when somebody murmurs something, they say it very quietly and not very clearly. You also can say, like, I walked into the crowded room and heard murmuring. Have you ever walked into a room and heard a whole bunch of people talking quietly? And you can't really hear what each individual person is saying, but you hear just this little murmur of voices. Just a minute, Reese. Just a minute, please, okay? You hear a murmuring of voices, a whole bunch of voices speaking quietly at once. That's usually how we use murmuring, okay? All right, now Reese.
I never walk into a room and I hear people done it before. I hear people in movies. I hear sometimes sometimes they do it.
Yep. Definitely in a movie you might see somebody walk into a room and just hear a general low crowd noise. All right, so you'll have to write a sentence of your own using murmured. Okay? All right. And then the next one says, explain why the great kapok tree is so important to the animals. Okay, we're going to go ahead and answer that. I'm going to erase this because we're all done with it. Why is the great kapok tree so important to the animals? Hattie?
Because they need it to live.
Okay, I like your start. Okay, but the first thing I want to do when we answer, look at all the lines for that. Is it just a simple answer? No, it's a complicated answer, okay? A lot of things. So when we answer a question like that, part of our answer needs to restate or say in a different way the question. So the question is, explain why the great kapok tree is so important to the animals. How am I going to start this sentence?
It's so important to them because...
Yep, we can start it with a pronoun. It's important to them because okay, I don't want answers. I want you to write this because I want each of you to come up with your own answer, but your sentence needs to start with something like this. The kapok tree is important because it's important to them because. go ahead and get this written. Caden, I'm going to pause it while you get it written. All right, Caden, I don't know if you went on and answered it, but I asked the students here to just get to this point, pencils down. Okay. Hattie, why did you say it was important?
Because the animals need food.
Yeah, because it gives them food. What else does it give them? Reese?
It gives them a home.
Gives them a home. What else does it give them?
Gives them protection from the jaguar.
Yeah, it can give them protection from the jaguar, and for the jaguar, it gives him food, right? It gives the things that he wants to eat a place to live.
Life.
It gives life. Hattie?
It gives all the animals to eat.
It gives the animals something to eat. Yep.
To drink.
Yep. It collects water. What does it provide for us? What would happen if there were no trees? What would we run out of? Oxygen, right? Or clean air. Okay. All kinds of reasons. So you'll have to write your sentence on murmuring. You'll have to finish this one in your seat work time. Okay. We're going to keep on going. Oh, nope. I got one more page to read. All right. Go ahead and turn your page. Yeah, they're all there. The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him, staring, were the creatures who depended upon the great kapuk tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were. So how does he feel when he wakes up and he sees all of those things looking at him? Hattie? He's confused a little bit, maybe. Ace? Scared, maybe. Right?
Surprise.
That would be a little weird. Yeah, surprised, definitely. Right? The man awoke with a start. That usually means surprise. What wondrous and rare animals they were. So he's kind of like, wow, this is cool. Okay? Turn the page in your packet, not in your book. Turn the page in your packet. It should look like this. Okay. It says prediction. When we predict, what are we doing? Addie?
Guessing.
Yeah, we're making a little bit of a guess, but not just a random guess. Like, I'm not going to guess that Batman flies down out of the tree and swoops the guy away, right? Because that has nothing to do with what I've read so far. So my prediction is going to be based on the information that I've been given. So it says, after reading page 24 and using evidence from the text, that means we're doing it based on what we've read, make a prediction of what you think will happen. Now, is everybody's prediction going to be the same? No. I'm going to write a couple down. You only have to write one prediction, okay? So raise your hand if you want to share with me your prediction of what's going to happen. We'll put it in this box. And in this box, we're going to have to include what from what we read, what evidence from the text makes you think that. All right, Reese, what's your prediction?
He's not going to chop down the tree.
Okay, hang on a second. Oh, why did I do that? Oh, that's all right. Hang on. And I take, okay? So, he won't,
Chop down.
and nobody's writing anything, won't chop down tree. What's your evidence from the text? What makes you think that?
Because it says in the book before him a man stood all the rainforest
Stood the rainforest child.
And all around him were staring for the creatures
Who depended upon the great kapuk tree. So what in there makes you think that he's not going to chop down the tree? What in there leads you to believe that he's not going to chop down the tree? I mean, he already started to.
The creatures who respond
Depended.
depended
Yep. Yep.
upon the great carpentry.
Yep. You are absolutely right. Do you know what the word depended means?
Like it's gonna happen. Like you want it to happen.
Not necessarily. So you depend on your parents. What does that mean?
You count on them.
You count on them. Can you live without a grown-up to take care of you?
No.
No, you depend on them.
That's-
Okay? And so what is he realizing as he wakes up and sees all of these creatures? What is he realizing? Ace?
That they're depending on him not to chop down the tree.
Well, that not that they're depending on him not to. They're hoping that he won't. But that if he chops down the tree, he's getting rid of this tree that they all love and that they all depend on, right? It's that word in there, depend. Okay? So he won't chop down the tree because he what?
Because he
knows
knows-
or he realizes.
he realizes that all the animals need the tree.
Good. Does anybody have a different prediction? That was your prediction? Ace, is that your prediction also? Yeah, it would have been my prediction too. So if you want, you can copy this prediction down. We can all have the same prediction because it's a pretty good one.
Okay.
Kaden, I'm going to pause it. You can get that written down.
Yeah, I realized that before we.
No frogs on this page?
Yeah.
Maybe they're just too small for us to see. Okay. All right. You can look for frogs later. Now we are looking for the word fragrant. Have you ever heard the word fragrant before?
I think I have.
Okay.
It smells nice.
Yeah, Ace already knows this vocabulary word. Good. Fragrant. So, sorry, I gotta get up here. All right. Okay, we're at the bottom of that page. He woke with the start and he saw all the animals looking at him. So now we're on page 26. We're on that page. Okay. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air. Suspended from the great kapuk tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. All right, we have the word fragrant. What page?
Page
26. And we need our sentence from the book, so I start with my quotation marks. We're looking for the word fragrant. Okay. What words are we going to use? Reese?
The man smelled the
Fragrant.
perfume of their flowers.
Okay. We really don't need all of that. You certainly can write the whole sentence, but there's only a part of the sentence that we
The
need.
man smelled
Ace, what do you think?
The man smelled. Yeah, the man smelled
Fragrant. Do we need the man? Does that help us to know what it is? No, what do we need? Smelled the fragrant perfume. If I said to you, smell the fragrant perfume, would you know what to do? You would smell, sniff. Okay, so all we need is smell the fragrant perfume. So what do we start with? ellipses.
That's what I did.
Edge.
I'm gonna pause. Caden will come. So we start with ellipses and we end with ellipses because there's words before and words that come after. Good. All right. Fragrant. Fragrant perfume. What part of speech? Fragrant perfume. Yes. We're working on it right now in grammar. What is it?
Adverbs?
No, we're not working on adverbs. What are we working on in grammar? I bet Caden knows. Caden, what are we working on in grammar?
Adjectives.
Adjectives. It's a describing word. It's a fragrant perfume. Okay? Adjective. Fragrant is an adjective. It's describing the perfume. A capital A, DJ, period. What does fragrant mean? If something is fragrant, it doesn't necessarily smell nice. Whew, you guys are fragrant today. Okay, do you smell nice if I'm doing that?
No.
Whew.
Smelly.
Yeah, fragrant just means that it smells. If something is fragrant, it smells. Maybe smells good,
Maybe smells.
maybe smells not so good. Sometimes the bathroom downstairs is fragrant, right? Does not smell good. But Holly's making buns today, and boy, those are some fragrant buns. They smell good. Okay. All right, you'll use a sentence of your own. Write a sentence of your own using fragrant. Nope. We are going to keep on moving, I think. Hang on, Caden, let me pause for a second. All right, turn your worksheet packet page to page 10. We're going to get through this page today. All right. Oops, not that one. Oh, do we have another prediction?
Oh, page 10, Addie. That's page 11. Take it up to page 10.
I got to take a look at your guys' page 10. Yep, we do have another prediction.
I don't want to do another picture.
Why?
Because we already did one.
Yes, well, we can practice it. You did so good with that one. All right, prediction after reading page 28 and using evidence from the text. Make a prediction of what you think will happen.
We're on page 27 right now. Let's go to page 29.
Where am I at? All right, yep, turn your page.
Where's that snake?
Okay. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child.
Where's the child?
They're behind him. He's behind him. Okay. So what's our prediction? I mean, he's standing there. He's got his axe in hand and he's ready to chop. That's his job. What's your prediction, Hattie?
That he's not going to chop down the tree.
Yep, that he's not going to chop it. We're not going to write this prediction because it's pretty much the same. So we're going to skip that part because it's pretty much the same prediction. How do you know, Hattie, that that's what he's going to do? What from the text told you?
He looked at the boy and the animals.
Right? He looked at them. He stopped what he was doing and he looked at them.
I got a prediction.
Okay.
I think the boss is gonna come and he's be like, "Hey, chop down the tree."
Yeah, maybe.
But he's not gonna chop down the tree.
Okay. What from the text lets you know or makes you think that the boss is going to come? Well, because the boss was there at the start and told him what to do, right? That's not an unreasonable prediction that the boss shows up to say, "Hey, how come you haven't chopped this tree down? I told you to chop this tree down." That's not an unreasonable prediction at all, Reese. Okay? So, you can certainly write your prediction if you want to, but we're going to just skip it because I want to make sure to give you time. But we do need the word hesitated. Okay? The man stood up and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree, and suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. Turn your page. Yes. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. All right. What page do we have the word hesitated on? Patty?
30.
Page 30.
And then he turned it.
Okay. And then we need our sentence from the book. This one's a pretty easy one. Patty, what sentence from the book are we going to use?
He
Hesitated. The whole sentence. He hesitated. That's an easy one. Or hesitated.
He hesitated.
And you're going
Okay.
to fish with me now.
Okay. What part of speech is hesitated?
It means
Not what it means. What part of speech?
part of speech.
My whole sentence is he hesitated.
He did it.
Yeah, he did something.
He did do it.
So what part of speech is it, Ace?
It is an adjective.
It is not an adjective. It's not a describing word.
Say,
He jumped. He hesitated.
come on.
What part of speech is jumped?
Noun.
It's a Patty.
Adjective.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay. Our parts of speech are noun, person, place, thing, or idea, something you can see, something you can feel, taste, touch, smell. That's a noun. A verb, something you can do, the action in the sentence. An adjective, a describing word. It describes
It describes something.
a
Verb.
A noun. Adjective describes a noun. Adverb describes a verb. Thank you, Hattie. Okay. Which one is this? Hesitated. Is it something you can see, hear, touch, taste, smell?
No.
No, it's not a noun. Is it a verb? Is it the action in a sentence?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a verb. What does it mean to hesitate? What do you think? He hesitated. What does that mean? Reese?
He did it right away.
He what?
He did it right away.
He did it right away. If I hesitate, I do it right away?
No.
No.
He think.
He thought?
Oh.
Yeah, but I can think and do something right away. Hesitated is something very different. Okay? I'm going to read the previous page. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree, and suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the children and the child. He hesitated. And then he dropped his axe. What does hesitate mean?
Hesitate means like immediately stop.
not immediately. Yeah, you stop, right? But it's kind of a slow stop. I hesitate. I don't really want to do this. So I really kind of do a slow stop. Okay? I hesitate to do something. I slowly stop. Slowly stop. All right. At the very end, there's a letter from the author. I'm going to read that to you real quick.
Yay!
It says, "Dear readers, I wrote The Great Kappa Tree to let the world know what happens to the rainforest creatures and to the entire planet when rainforests are destroyed. I hope that after reading this book, you will help save the rainforests. The Great Kappa Tree is about the Amazon rainforest, a tropical rainforest. But we have a temperate rainforest in the Pacific Northwest of the United States that we must protect too. So we have a rainforest in the United States as well. It's in the Pacific Northwest, which is like Oregon State and Washington State. It says, please care for Mother Earth together. Ace, I'll wait till you're done. Done? Please care for Mother Earth together. We can make a difference. Lynn Cherry. Okay? So it tells us why she wrote the book, which will be important later. I hope you were listening. Okay? All right, you have several things that you need to do to complete this. Vocabulary words to write your own sentence. I feel like there was one other thing. So just look back through and make sure we get all of it done. Oh, explaining why the Great Kappa Tree is so important to the animals. Okay? And that's it.